Afternoon Muttonistas, slightly unusual vlog for you today. If you remember, my last game was at Copenhagen away where the microphone copped out. Now, I'm having to miss the odd game until the Dortmund game. I do want to watch a game of football and I've bought some new microphones that I want to test out. So join me for an unusual vlog tonight where I'm going to vlog Stockport County at home to Shrewsbury Town, but alternating my microphones to see what works best. Now folks, obviously I don't want what happened then to happen again, so I've bought some new microphones. However, a famous vlogger has told me he's quite happy just using his phone and the internal microphones. I always found that to be a little bit odd, but maybe the external noise and interference when you're at the stadium for atmosphere purposes is what you want. But that might be problematic if you need to speak yourself, if it's getting very noisy around you. And some of you have said to, oh, you need to take this, that or the other quality microphone into a stadium. Now, as it stands, I had some very cheap microphones costing £15 each and some that cost about £250. When you go into a football stadium, there is often a security check. Maybe not too bad at home, but certainly for Champions League aways, I don't want those microphones being confiscated. Anyway, before we head off to the pub and to Stockport, let me give you today's lineup of microphones. Now, I'm going to start off with the Saramonic Blink 500. I'm not going to use this. This is very expensive. They come in a pair, or at least I bought them in a pair, and I used it for the food segment of the vlog in Copenhagen, which came out pretty well for myself, but it was hard to hear my companion talking. So all of the following microphones cost me about 30 to 40 quid each. This Chinese-made wireless lavalier microphone, I can't actually remember the brand, but I will, when I edit the vlog, put the name in the subtitles and in the description box. A Seymour wired lavalier microphone. Now, I've been using this style of microphone in the past, but I've gone for a more expensive one which has had better reviews. And of course, it just plugs into the lightning port on your iPhone. And then finally, this one caught my eye. It actually has its own little charging case, which is very suitable because I run into battery problems when I vlog football matches, particularly if there's a big food and drink segment beforehand. So as you can see, I'm using the wired one at the moment. So what I'm going to do tonight is test one of these wireless mics, test the wired mic, and then the iPhone on itself without any microphone to see how they all come out at the end of the day. You might have to start adjusting your volume up and down a little bit, but I think this vlog will be interesting not only to people who want to see a lower league game, particularly those outside the UK who don't get to watch them, and people who are interested in how microphones work in vlogging environments where there's a lot of noise. I don't claim to be a technical expert on this, as many of you watching probably aren't either, but let's see how it goes. Let's head off to Stockport for a pre-match pint. Okay, got myself to a pub with half an hour to go before the game, so time for a very, very swift pint. I'm having lager for a change because sadly there was no cask on. Anyway, I'm using tonight the small wireless microphone in the pub, and as I said earlier, I'll cover a third of the game without a microphone, a third with a wired one, and a third with this one. And let's see how it goes. Now, as for watching County, I haven't been for years. They did struggle a while in non-league football, went 2 divisions below the Football League, but managed to get themselves back, winning the Conference League last season. And they were actually the bookies' favourite to go straight back up, but they've had a slightly slow start to the season. Anyway, the ground itself, just south of Manchester, called Edgeley Park. Holds about 11 or 12,000 people. No idea how many people are going to turn up for the Papa John's Football League trophy, which is like the FA Cup, but not for the top two divisions. 48 teams from League 1 and 2 and 16 academy or youth teams from the higher divisions. Divided into groups, and County have had a bad start, losing their first two matches. Anyway, they're at home to Shrewsbury tonight. The tickets are a bargain. They're a £5 each, and I hope it's a well-attended match. But anyway, come on County. Very nice. I even get a free slice of pizza here at the bar. That is the easiest pint I've ever been able to get before a match. Heineken, and I reckon I'll have no problem at all getting a half-tide pie and pint. As for the mics, I'm wearing that same wireless one, but I'm going to start off the game without any mic at all, stick the wired one on at around half-time, and finish off the game with this one. And not too many have made the journey here from Shrewsbury. Just my luck, the first time I can get a pre-match pint when I arrive fairly late at the ground, and there's a goal in the second minute and I missed it. Sod's law. How did that not go in? I do not know. But the approach bay from County looks pretty decent to me. Come on, Elliot! On! And another one where it seemed harder to miss than to actually score. Half an hour in, time to change from the phone to the wired mic. So at half-time it's 1-0 to County, not too much to report after the goal, a couple of good shots. Thought County passed the ball around pretty nicely and controlled most of the game. I thought it was a group stage game, but the chap sitting behind me said it was a one-off game that could go 1-1 into penalties. Maybe that's just how they divvy up the points in these games. Anyway, I thought I'd show you what people at traditional lower league football grounds have at half-time, and actually in the top flight as well. Except usually when I go to a City game, I never have time to get anything. So we have, as always, the half-time pint. Never a good idea to go for bitter at these grounds, as it from old-fashioned keg tap. I usually have lager, and I got mine from bottles because the pint I had before kick-off came from draft, and it tasted a little bit too sweet for my taste. That's much better. And now, another of Britain's few contributions to world cuisine, the pie. And a half-time pie is as traditional as it gets. Yes, okay, some people, rather than having beer, they have this drink called Bovril, which is from a stock cube, which is not at all to my taste. But lager and pie, yep, I love it. This was described as an artisan pie, and it's not bad actually. It's called a meat and potato pie. Obviously UK viewers will be totally familiar with this, but as meat and potato pies, it's pretty good. The other option was cheese and onion, obviously for vegetarians. I don't mind those. If I'd have had the choice, I would have gone for a steak or a steak and kidney pie, but this is pretty good. Anyway, let's get on with this and see what excitement awaits us in the second half. So I got back to my seat 53 minutes into the game, 8 minutes after half-time. Kind of shows you why it's often really not worth going for half-time refreshment. Took too long over that. Okay, big stoppage here, so time to change over for the final half hour of the game to the wireless mic. Overlap. Oh, dear. That could have been a very expensive turnover. With 10 minutes to go, that was pretty horrible. Okay, Muttonistas, time for the post-match wrap. Now behind me is Stockport's most famous architectural structure, the railway viaduct. Pretty spectacular, I have to say, but also a pub that I haven't been into for probably a decade, the Crown on Heaton Lane. And of course, as always on a phone, it looks a lot better from the normal camera as opposed to the selfie camera. And here I'm recording on the phone's microphones, and when I get in and order my pint, I'll move over to the wireless mic again to see how that differs. Although I have to say, I think when not at the match, the microphone is an easy winner. This pub used to be a regular haunt of mine, and unfortunately they closed down, I think just before COVID, but it's been reopened under new management, and I do hope they have as good a spread of real ales. Well, they still have the...
Oh no, I'm going to end up with another one in a minute.
Hello.
Hey, sweetie, okay?
Yeah, I'd like a pale ale. Okay, Muttonistas, I was about to use just the phone and its own microphones to test them, but this is too important for that, so I am mic'd up. The Crown on Heaton Lane in Stockport is officially back, and without any reduction in the coverage of real ales, which is really, really important. And as you can see here, an absolutely enormous selection. And some of the rooms have basically kept their old traditional decor, as is the case here. Wow, this is bringing back so many fond memories. And they still have their music. Traditional music on some days, popular music on others. So apparently on most weekdays it's 12 till 12 until 1 on weekends, although if it's quiet they sometimes close a bit earlier on weekdays. But I can assure you Muttonistas, I will be coming back here for a proper session. As for the game, well, not much to report. I have no reason to apologise for missing that goal because I came for a leisurely night out, watch a game, test the mics, vlog it a bit, so I'm sorry if you're disappointed by that. The game itself wasn't great, but what I will say is that footballers at that level, League 2 for Stockport, League 1 for Shrewsbury, they're not actually that bad, they're just a shade off the people at the top. The defenders in particular can often defend well enough, it's just the lack of a cutting edge up front. As for the pubs around the ground, well, Edgeley was a bit disappointing, I have to say. Couldn't find a cask ale anywhere, but thankfully I'm back in the right place again. And that is just what the doctor ordered. I can't really tell you how the microphones have performed until I review the footage. My guess is that the game, the wired and the wireless performed similarly and the phone's microphones were completely different. I still think indoors it's better to use a mic because it basically removes the surrounding noise. If you, the viewers, noticed any difference with the microphones, please let me know. I'd love to hear your comments on how you judged the sound from this match. I know the action wasn't always great, but I've included it in the vlog because I wanted to make sure the sound was good. I'm going to have to love you and leave you now, Muttonistas. Next vlog will be away at Dortmund. That should be a cracker. In the meantime, please keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, but most of all, don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.